Very good afternoon to all of you. Uh, we're again back to our paper that was called as Project Management, which has a code of MMPO 002. Up till this session, in the previous sessions, in the 9 previous sessions, we have completed two blocks, and also we have started or we have completed one unit from the third block. So now we are in the third block that focuses on project monitoring and control. Now, in the last session, we had seen a particular unit under this block, which was called as the PMIS, or in other words, the Project Management Information System. Now, when we talked about Project Management Information System, we saw there how a integrated system of gathering information, analyzing them, and generating various reports according to the needs of the various users, particularly the various levels of management that we have in the hierarchical structure of the project. So, project management information system focused on reports, its sources, what kind of reports, whom to report, who will use those reports. Now, how we can deduct or analyze the reports. Now, the reports will come only when we look at the actual implementation of the project activities from time to time. We have said from the very beginning that a project consists of a number of activities, or in other words, a total project can be broken down into small activities at various levels, which we called as work breakdown structure. Now, we have to constantly have a vision over how the work is progressing. All of us know that, yes, we have prepared a plan for the project. That means how the activities should go on when it is carried forward in the future period of time. That means actually it is being done. And we try to see how much actually the work is done at any given point of time in our project implementation stage. Now, when we get information on how much work has been done on various activities, we should analyze them to have certain ideas regarding the project or the aspects of the project, particularly focusing on the time schedule, the cost schedule. Now, when we try to compare whatever are the actual happenings as on a given particular date to what are the planned activities as per the given date, we locate various kind of deviations. The deviations, if they are having an adverse impact on the project, we have to take note of that, and immediately we have to take corrective steps. by using various kind of tools and techniques. Now, these tools and techniques will tell us which project is going over the budget, that means we are spending more, or it is lagging behind in terms of time schedule. So this kind of adverse impacts, how we can rectify them, that is called as the controlling aspect. So in our today's class, we shall look at what is project monitoring and control, how is the process working, what is the plan that we shall develop for that, what are the tools that we use for monitoring and controlling the various project activities, so that the manager can take corrective steps and can also have a new plan for the future activities from that point of time, which will make or try to complete the project in time and in budget that we have planned for. So let us see what is this project monitoring and control. Now, when we introduce ourselves to the project monitoring and control aspects, this forms a major part of managing the projects. Managing the projects means doing the activities in the right way and at the right time. So, in this globally competitive era, at this present time, what is happening? Now, the competition is very severe. Organizations or project organizations, to say, are having a cutthroat competition in this particular era. So managing projects successfully in this era of fierce competition is a very critical aspect. So how can we do the things correctly and try to successfully complete the project in time and in budget? Here, the objective is to minimize the deviations. All of us know that when we have what are the actual happenings at any given point of time, we take that reports and compare that with the planned reports. So objective of this monitoring and control of projects is to minimize the deviations between the project plan and actual implementation. Now, once we analyze what is the project plan and actual implementation, that means analyzing the deviations, we can say whether the deviations are having a, we can say, negative impact on the project. If it is positive impact, well and good, we are doing fine, but without hampering the other two aspects, that is quality as well as scope of the project. But if it is negative deviation, then we as manager should take various corrective actions so that our plan is in coherence with the completion time of the project as well as the budget part also. Now, what is monitoring? all of us know or we have a fair idea. Monitoring is to look at any of the activities that is going on at any given point of time and to find out its progress. So, this time periods can be of different lengths. Sometimes we take days, sometimes we take weeks, or sometimes we take also on a monthly basis. So, monitoring is checking the project's actual performance with whatever the plans we have developed at the beginning in or at regular time intervals. Now, what is the control aspect? Just now we have discussed. Yes, when we constantly monitor a project at various time periods, what happens? The deviation between the actual and the planned thing comes up, and also through analysis we can know whether it is having a positive impact or negative impact on the future of the outcome. The negative impact we should be careful about as a project manager, and we shall try to bring it down as much as possible so that the project gets completed as per the planned schedule or the planned budget. So we can say control is the deviations found in monitoring. That means by comparing the plans and the actuals, we find the deviations. It should be taken care if they are having a negative impact on the project. When we say the negative impact of the project, we say negative impact on cost. That means whether the project is going over budget. Second is the schedule part. That means whether the project, the actual implementation of the activities of the project is ahead of the planned times or it is getting delayed as compared to the planned schedule. If it is getting delayed, what kind of thing we can take as corrective actions. And finally, the quality. Now, the quality of the deliverables, that means the objectives of the project for which it has been implemented should be fulfilled. It should match whatever was the requirement as per the plan of the project. Now, the monitoring phase will tell us what kind of corrective actions you shall be taking so that you can bring down this negative impact of various kind of deviations on the project. Now, what are the various key elements of project control? When we are talking about project control, we are talking of using the various kind of tools and techniques which can reduce the deviations between the planned and the actual if it is having a negative impact on the project. So what are the elements? That means what are the things that make up this project control aspect of a project? First is scope and purpose or performance. Now, when we are talking of scope, the project has boundaries. That means the deliverables are clearly spelled out at the planning phase. That means the project are going to attain this these objectives. Now, when we are talking of performance, how the project during the implementation stage is going on actually. So, it comprises of unexpected technical problems. Suppose for our project we require uh, a machinery which should be capable of moving 100 tons of load. Now, while the work is going on, suppose the machinery uh, is damaged due to certain reasons or has a breakdown. So here a technical problem has risen, that how we can move the loads in the project. Now the technical specification is the load to be moved is 100 tons. Now if we find that such machineries are not available immediately, that means to move 100 tons, but machineries available are only being able to move 25 tons. So now instead of using a single machinery, you will be going for 4 machineries. Now it may enhance the cost of the project. So the breakdown of the machinery was unexpected technical problem, due to which we can have some kind of deviations, negative deviations. So it forms a part of the project control scope and performance. Another is changes in specification. Many times what happens, the customer who requires the project tries to spell out what are the deliverables they will get after the completion of the project. That means the outputs of the project. Now the deliverables will be having certain specifications. Now in the midway, due to maybe the change in the market scenario, etc., the customer may ask the deliverables specification has to be changed. So there definitely you have to deviate from the planned activities. Now how can you reduce this? So that has to be encompassed. Another thing is interfunctional complication. We know that project has various functional areas like HR, like finance, like operations, etc. They will be differing in their work, in their techniques, etc. Now, sometimes the operations will be saying that we require more number of machineries to complete a certain activity or certain activities in a given time frame. Now, more number of machineries means will be having an adverse impact on the project. You try to manage the activities within the given budget. Now, second element of project control that we look at is costs. Now, when we are talking about costs, we have planned cost and the actual cost. Now the planned costs, in other words, are our initial estimates or the budgeting part. That means for each activity, we try to have an estimate of how much it will be costing us to complete it, or how much we shall be spending to complete that thing. Now the third element of project control that we shall be looking at is the time. Now again, if we look at the plan of the project, apart from the cost estimates, another important aspect that we estimate is the time or the schedules. That means what are the times that will be taken up or estimated to be taken up by various kind of activities or tasks in the project. So we take into account the initial time estimates. Apart from that, we know that project consists of large number of activities. Many activities are there which can only be started after a particular another activity is completed. Now here, this leads to sequencing of activities. That means which activity will be done first, which activity will follow that or will be done after that particular first activity is completed. So you have to put the various activities in a particular sequence. That means in a network diagram. And we shall try to determine what is the starting point of the project or the beginning of the project and what is the expected project duration or the completion time of the project. Now this can be done by sequencing of activities. Next element is quality. When we try to define quality, many of us say that it is value for money. That means how much we are getting for spending every rupee on a particular goods or services. Now, some also describe quality as adherence to set standards or performing to the set standards. Now, for a project, we set standards at the planning stage. That means the deliverables of the project should be having certain specifications. When the project is complete, the deliverables cannot have different specifications as compared to the initial planned specification. So we shall be conforming to the set standards. So when you are talking of quality, we talk of technical quality. That means the technology that is being used in the operational process should be of the quality that is required for the project. Second is external quality. That means when we are talking of external quality, external can be viewed as it may be external vendors, external contractors, the external factors which will be included in the project process or operations, and they should be of a particular quality according to the needs of the project. Another thing under quality is we should maintain certain standards, uh, that is called as quality standards. We have organization that is called as ISO, International Organization for Standards. Now, this organization are third party inspectors who try to check whether the operation process, the inputs to the project or the deliverables, that means outputs of the project, are meeting certain kind of quality standards. If we do not meet the quality standards, the answer will be we cannot try to make our entry into certain advanced markets where quality is of utmost importance. Next element under project control is risk. First of all, what is risk? We know that project activities are undertaken for future time period. Now, these activities, since they are undertaken in future periods, are uncertain. That means they can be, or their outputs can be either in terms of cost, yes, within budget; in terms of time, yes, in time they are completed. But we do not know whether actually the thing will happen in the future period of time. Now, when any future outcome is having a negative impact on the project, that we call as risk of the project. Now here we can have risk in two ways: internal risk and the external risk. Internal risk, we can say, can arise from maybe the human resource side, maybe the machineries that are used in the process or the operation process, etc. External risk can arise maybe out of, suppose we say, government regulations. So thereby we have to change our actual working style or working ways out of or deviating from the planned activities. And finally, one element of project control that we can talk of is, which is particularly, we can say, in the domain of the project manager, is the team. Now here the project manager should see that the project team should be motivated. We know projects are undertaken, are unique activities, and most of the times it is undertaken in harsh conditions. So there the team members may feel dejected or lack motivation, which may hamper their work culture. they will be having a negative impact on the project's progress. So the team should be rightly motivated. That means in the right direction they should be motivated. That means how we can carry out the project so that deliverables are achieved in cost and in time. Now, let us look at what are the various types of project control systems that we can have. Now, already we have discussed many a times a good project implementation is that project which is on time. That means at any point of time during implementation or the actual work is going on, it is matching the planned activities for that point of time, and the budget up till that point of time is also as per the plans, and the performance standard, that means the quality aspect, should also be in coherence with the customer's requirement. That means it should be matching the requirements of the customer. Now, project control systems can be of two types. One is one-dimensional control system. Second is multi-dimensional control systems. We know that project is undertaken which consists of a combination of activities undertaken by various functional areas. Now, when we combine all the activities of various functional areas as a total, we get the full project. When we are having a control system for a single functional area, that becomes one-dimensional control system. Now here, the drawback is that it may not be matching with the requirements of the project in total. In other words, it may create confusions in other functional objectives. Multidimensional control systems are usually used. From the name itself, we can say that when various functional areas objectives are aggregated together for a project which will be leading the project in the right direction. That means while the implementation stage is going on, the project should be meeting the time schedules, meeting the budget and the performance standards as per the plan. Then we call it as multi-dimensional control system. The project monitoring and control plan. What is the plan? We shall develop for monitoring and control of projects. Now, when we are talking of projects, as we have said, monitoring and control is very vital in the success of a project. Monitoring means taking regular assessment of the project's actual performance at any given point of time during its implementation, and we try to compare that with the planned activities. Now, if deviations are occurring, we try to check whether the deviations are having a negative impact on the project. If the negative impact is there, then the control aspects come forward. That means the control plan is developed in order to control these deviations in form of various tools and techniques. Now, while developing this monitoring and control plan, the first step is the project should be clearly mentioned or outlined in terms of scope. That means what are the deliverables it will be providing us once it is completed. Deliverables, the schedule part. The schedule of completing the project should be also clearly mentioned. That means within this given time frame, our project should be completed. And finally, the budget aspect. The planned budget should be adhered to. In the second step of the monitoring and control plan, there is a need for creating a breakdown structure. That means the work breakdown structure. We have seen in the earlier discussions that a project can be subdivided into smaller activities, and these activities can also be further subdivided again, and this goes on till various levels, or the activities cannot further be reduced to smaller parts. So a project may be having a single level of breakdown structure. That means the main project and the major components or major activities, or we can have multi-level the work breakdown structure where the levels of activities may go to more than two number of levels: third level, fourth level, fifth level, etc. Now, the third step in monitoring and control plan of the project is to implement the project plan, reporting and analyzing the variances. Now, once the project actually is undertaken or implemented, when should the reporting be done? Now, do these reports try to say us, are there any kind of variances? That means the difference between the actual and the planned ones. If the variance is negative, then we should take corrective actions. Information may be gathered from various sources. What are the various sources? Now, team meetings, regular progress reports, technical meetings, etc. In team meetings, all the team members of the project may be gathering together, or if we have functional area team meetings, then only the functional area members sit down together. Regular progress reports. We have said at regular time intervals, we shall be finding out what is the actual progress of activities in the project. So, those reports will be called as regular progress reports. Then the technical specifications of the project that should be done by the technical personnel along with the project manager, called as technical meetings. The project manager, whatever information they need must be correct. That means it should be as true as possible and it should be available at the correct time. That means at the right time. Finally, the control plan should be in such a way that it can detect problems as early as possible. The reason being, when we have the beginning of a problem and we try to take the corrective actions to rectify it, then it can easily be done. But if we close our eyes to the small problem, it may, we can say, expand into a very big problem. And it becomes a difficult situation for the project manager to take care of the situation. That means reduce the deviations. Now, the process of project monitoring and control. Now, what is the process used for monitoring and control? All of you see, we have the process in the diagram, the inputs or the reports, the progress reports at any given point of time for the inputs, then the tools and techniques, the ideas, the knowledge, and how to use it are taken into account along with the various kind of inputs, and we try to monitor the thing. Monitor the thing means from various progress reports, we try to see are there any kind of negative deviations between the actual and the planned activities or the planned progress. If such kind of deviations are there, we go for controlling them. That means reduce the deviation. How? By using various kind of tools and techniques, either to identify the deviations or how we can reduce them so that we can get our final outputs or the deliverables at right time and in right cost. So the process requires the frequency of reporting to be clearly mentioned. Now the frequency of reporting is based on events. What are events? We know that any activity has a starting point and an ending point called as events. So when you start an activity or close an activity or end it, so the events will be occurring and they should be reported. It should be based on time also. One may say that at any given point of time, what is the progress of the project? So there we try to see what are the activities already completed, what are the activities going on, how much is their actual progress, what are the activities yet to be started, so that we can match them with the planned ones and we can get the deviations. Type of data that should be reported. What things are to be reported. Human resources, equipment utilization, costs incurred, the time taken by activities, which are the activities already completed, which are yet to be done, what are the things we have achieved till date, that means milestones achieved, are there any changes due to customer requirements. So all this data are to be reported. Now, these reports can be prepared with a frequency of, for small projects we can say, small project means running into a particular month or 2 month, etc. We can say for small projects, twice a week at least we should have the frequency of reporting. And for big projects running into several months, we can say either it is fortnightly, that means every 2 weeks or 15 days, or on a monthly basis at least the reporting should be done. Now the techniques that we use for monitoring and control. The first one, widely used also, is the Gantt chart. It was developed by Henry Gantt in the beginning of 20th century to be used in project management. Now, this depicts the work scheduled to be done, as well as we can also take the work also completed. Tasks are presented on vertical axis. We shall see in the next slide. Timelines representing task duration are shown on the horizontal axis. Now let us see how we can develop a Gantt chart. Now here we have taken an example of Gantt chart preparation, which is having 5 activities with the planned data. A, B, C, D, E are our activities with the preceding activities A, none, B, A, C and D both have B as preceding activity, E has D. Then their duration in days are given respectively for various activities, and the cost incurred or the planned cost to be incurred for various activities are also given. Total cost easily you can find out. For suppose activity A, the cost estimated is 500 rupees per day. So for 3 days of activity A, it will cost us 1500. Similarly, other activities total cost also we have found out. Now let us see how we can have the Gantt chart. I am trying to develop a Gantt chart here. On this side, we are having activities. What are the activities we have? A, B, C, D, E, and these are the time in days. All of us see. First, activity A has to be done. Now the time, let me put the axis. This is our Horizontal axis, the time we are showing, the duration. Ten days I have shown. Activity A. It is the starting activity and it is taking 3 days. So this is my 3 days timeline and this is my activity A. Activity B will start only after activity A. So A is completed on the third day. Now we can start activity B. On the third day, it will go for 2 days. 2 days means the timeline will now be set at 5th. Activity starts, B starts on third day and it goes till the 5th day. Activity C and D can only be started after B is completed or after the 5th day. Now C takes 3 days. 3 days means from 5th day till 8th day it will go on. This is activity C. Activity D takes 2 days. That means starts on the 5th day and goes on till the 7th day. This is our C. This is our D. Then activity will only start after D is completed. That means it will take us 3 days. That means starting from the 7 days, it will be completed on 10th day. Now you can clearly see which activity starts from which day and ends up on what day. Which activity is done first or which activity are following them. Now, if I ask a question, what is the planned progress of the project on the 6th day? Immediately from the chart, all of us can see that by 6th day, A is complete, B is also complete. C takes 3 days, but it has been completed only 1 day. So I can say C is 1/3 complete. Whereas D, which is taking 2 days, is completed only 1 day. So I can say D is 50% or half completed. E is yet to start. We haven't started E as a 6th day. So this way we can develop Gantt chart for the plant data. We can see which activities, how much progress there should be at a particular point of time. Immediately we can see from the graph and say that. Another technique that we shall see, already we have learnt about, is the earned value analysis, EVA. In our earlier session we had done this EVA. So here we are having 5 activities. I have taken the example. PV stands for planned value. In other words, it is budgeted cost for work scheduled. That means as per our plan, how much is the cost as per the estimated scheduled date. Then comes actual cost. It is actual cost of work performed. That means how much actually we have spent on the actual work we have completed till a particular point of time. Then we find out earned value. It is budgeted cost for work performed. That means actually whatever work we have done, how much was the planned cost for that or budgeted cost for that. So various activities A, B, C, D, E. We have planned values, the actual cost and the earned values on the example. Now, I shall try to analyze the performance of these various activities as well as the whole project, taking A, B, C, D, E into account individually as well as total. Now A, when we find out CB, the cost variance, it is earned value minus actual cost. All of you can say it is 500 minus 500. So that is 0. The cost performance index matrix is similarly 500 divided by 500, that is 1 or 100%. Now similarly, I can say the scheduled variance for A, you can see 500 EB minus planned value 500, so that is 0, and the schedule performance index is 1. I can say the activity A, since it is 1, the index, it is right on budget, and the performance index schedule, since it is 1, we are on time. Similarly, I calculate for B. This is 100. This is 1.11. This is 200. This is 1.25. What can I say? Now activity B is under budget. That means spending less than what is actually required. Whereas looking at the time, 1.25 or greater than 1 says that we are ahead of the schedule. All of us can look similarly at activity D. Others we can complete also. This one is 100. This is minus 100. And this forms a part of 0.92. This is minus 100, having a performance index of schedule as 0.92. What can I say? The cost performance index is less than 1. That means we are spending more. We are over budget, adverse. If you are looking at schedule performance index, it is also less than 1. That means we are getting delayed. That means we are behind the schedule. B was ahead of the things in terms of cost and time, whereas D is the opposite. What we can do here, we can find out the totals of the various items here from the given table, and we can judge about the various activities, and we can say which activity is going over budget or under budget, which activity is done ahead of schedule or it is behind schedule or getting delayed, and what is the status of the overall project. If we take the totals of planned value, actual cost and earned value and put it in the figures of the total in the table, then we get for the project. Finally, we should measure under planning and control the technical performance. Now, we have to measure the technical objectives. What are the technical specifications for which the project was undertaken? Now, at any given point of time, we find whether the actual technical specifications are being met as per the planned ones. If it is having negative values, then we can recommend corrective actions. Now, this helps us to prevent cost and schedule overruns. So here we take performance measures like reliability, response time, setup times, idle times, etc. So this is about project monitoring and the control aspect of projects. Thank you.